Hello, mate. Welcome to another edition of X Feed. My name's The Schiller. Doing a stream a little bit earlier today. It is Friday. Just trying to switch things up, make it more interesting. Maybe let somebody else catch it live that hadn't otherwise. Today, we are going over a little bit of talk around RWAs and the fact that I still feel like the majority of people aren't really looking at anything within that sector because it's sort of boring, but there's a lot of exciting things happening within it. So we'll go over that. We're going to talk over a bunch of happenings across the NFT space, which it still feels like the majority of the focus is on all of the launches around TokenWorks and the Punk strategy. We are going to go over some things from Brian Armstrong over at Coinbase. If you've been following him at all, he's been very, very, very vocal on the timeline and, of course, all your stuff in between. So let's get at it. Spending more time online in the trenches, says G Money. Kinda missed it, not gonna lie. Very, very interesting. I do think that everybody's coming online and paying more attention to what's going on since the NFT sector has got a little bit of bump because it's all about the community. From Vibes TCG, the Pudgy Penguins TCG, introducing our new NYCC, which I think means New York Comic Con, Arceus Arches promo. You can earn this promo card via the weekend's partnered live streams or as a lucky New York Comic Con attendee. Love it. Well, a little bit of a ring to the New York Yankees, but not too shabby. So I mentioned RWAs a second ago, and have you guys ever heard of Duel Mint, the most boring game you'll ever own? Coming soon. Now, I had the pleasure of interviewing Bill, who is doing one of the craziest things that I've seen within the crypto space, where he's going out and he's buying laundromats, ATMs, et cetera, and tokenizing it where you can essentially get a part of it. So here's a quick clip from the podcast that I did with him a couple of weeks ago. What does it look like when you say that these are tokenized? Is it something where you go, let's just say there's a laundromat somewhere, you go, you purchase it, and then all the revenue that you get from that, you put towards what people are buying on Duel Mint? When we say tokenize it, I'm trying to look from an outsider perspective, and they're like, okay, well, how does that work? What does kind of like the flow look like?
Yeah, so it depends. Usually we try to work with the operator. Obviously, Duel Mint is not, an expert in any of these fields, right? So we kind of need to rely on the operator's expertise. So, we find these operators that operate, for example, using the laundromat as an example, they will operate laundromats. So they have multiple laundromats around. The tokenization effort is basically us working with the operator, trying to figure out what the best terms and conditions are for the business as well as the token holder. So we're kind of trying to figure out, okay, what makes sense to have. So essentially what we're helping the business do is using future revenue to grow the business, right? Traditionally, when they had to raise fund, they had to either go to a bank, get a loan, or ask for an investor, which they need to give up equity, right? So with tokenization, they're actually really just borrowing from future cash flow. So the token holder is essentially entitled to the cash flow that is generated by the individual laundry machines from all the coins, right? You can think of it as like duct tape finance. You put a coin in, actual quarter in, and then you get, some USDC back at the end of the month.
So very, very interesting. The people that are going out and tokenizing the world, we're getting to talk with them every single week. Again, if you're wanting to hear more from my conversation with Bill or anyone else as we continue to do different episodes, the link's down in the description below or in my bio on X. Brian Armstrong, again, massively vocal, bunch of stuff happening within government realms and just crypto adoption as a whole here in 2025. Latest one, the internet gave everyone a voice. Crypto will give everyone free access to money and fairer financial systems. When access to finance is universal, borders matter less and value moves at digital speed. The ripple effects, governments rethink money and finance evolves into an open source system, inevitably on-chain. This feature is closer than most think, and that's why Coinbase is building the rails to onboard the next billion. Now, listen, we've been saying that it's close for years and we're still here, but I generally agree with the gist. The IP super cycle is in effect. Rec drinks getting out, being at all of your 7-Elevens and various convenience stores. 9gag, very well known. Doodles now partnering with Universal Monsters. The Pudgy Party game from Pudgy Penguins doing absolute numbers. We're seeing some stuff from the Moonbirds in Burbhalla, and then you're seeing Uzuki with some mighty fine, very expensive partnered watches. A lot of stuff going on across the IP space from Web3. Now, if you're looking on the art side, yesterday we covered the Beeple piece that was the banana taped on the wall that they made, and it was Raoul Paul from Real Vision who was the buyer of said piece for a whopping $200,600. That's American too. Listen, holy smokes. Imagine the conversion rate pretty much anywhere in the world on that one for a picture of a banana. Well, do we even call it a picture? We got to call it a masterpiece, not just a picture, a masterpiece. I don't know how true this is, but breaking 90% of traders who bridged from Solana to Binance chain are now sitting in losses. Now, again, not sure how accurate this is. We went over some of the news cycles where one day everybody was like, wow, we love Binance. The meme coin cycle is back, to the next day of people saying, wow, everything is absolutely turbo wrecked, to then people saying, oh, everybody's going to be coming back to Solana. And I don't really play in those trenches per se, so I have no idea. But oh my goodness, another absolute disaster in Web3. Ladies, can we get a round of applause for another absolute disaster in Web3? Talking about Legends of the Mara, originally created by Yuga Labs. The intent with this game was, I have no idea. They put up so many different things that they wanted to work on, and they gave it over to Faraway here. And they just made an announcement in the Faraway Discord. And again, sorry, my head's in the way. I guess I move it here. Nah, they can't even see it anyway. Everyone, we are officially transitioning the server to fully focus on Rift for heavy metal. We've been rebranding the Discord for a few weeks now, and you should now see the server name as Rift. Please keep in mind that all conversions, Conversations, is that a word? In the server conversations going forward should be focused on Rift, and any convos around heavy metal and Legends of the Mara should take place on their own servers. So Rift is something else that Faraway's doing, but they got heavy metal and Legends of the Mara. We'll be publishing a new landing page for Rift soon, so if you like So yeah, I don't know. That seems like really weird, just like reading that out loud. I thought it was like a definitive, hey, we're not doing this. It's, hey, we're now focusing all on Rift, and if you want to talk about those other ones, go elsewhere. And I don't think that Legends of the Mara has done anything. I'm not going to go through the debrief, but if you're familiar with it, you'll know. Yo, Jesus Baggin. Hello, friend. I'm thinking of staking my root coin on Futureverse. What are your thoughts? Because it looks like they're restructuring, not closing up the services, right? Yeah. Listen, that's a tough one. It's really all up to you. I mean, I'm kind of checked out of that ecosystem. I'm like, I wish Shannon all of them absolutely the best. There's absolute diehards that are in there, but I struggle just a wee little bit when they had as much as going on as they did, even though a lot of it wasn't successful, to then like not really garner that much of an audience originally, to now, okay, we have even like less people that's involved, and we have a huge amount of PTSD, and we don't have the main builders that are on there anymore, and we don't know if other people are going to have a ton of funding, and there's a lot of action and attention happening elsewhere. I don't know how that attention is going to swing back in that favor. And based off the fact that there's LinkedIn posts of them basically begging people to buy stuff while Futureverse is in receivership, I don't know. There's like a lot of things that just like kind of freak me out about the whole thing. But there is a lot of diehards that are sticking with it. So it's ultimately up to you in that regard. But I appreciate you swinging by. So Suba saying burning 4 ETH worth of the squiggle strategy, current low market cap actually burns a lot of the supply. The high priced NFT plus low market cap is a higher burn. So for anybody that's paying attention within the NFT strategies, this is an interesting note. Now the problem with this is like, what's the likelihood of somebody going to buy one of the higher priced NFTs right now? Because we've seen a big amount of like ebbs and flows and volatility with it. But if you do see somebody that's a whale out there going and buying a bunch of the NFTs from a certain protocol of one of the lower market cap strategies, could be something to watch onto. Snazzy, what's up? Maybe Raoul Paul can come to save the day. Well, I was thinking about that. Like, what would it take for the sentiment to change and people be on board? I don't think you could take a no-name team and get the attention that you would like. when I think of how Spencer took Moonbirds, he had such a positive reputation around the vibes TCG. And then for Luca with Pudgy Penguins, I think people were unsure initially, and then it kind of turned around. But I guess Spencer was a little different because it felt like Moonbirds like took off like pretty quickly, oddly enough. But yeah, if there was a bigger name that was involved, absolutely. Clone X Revival, another team that ditched the space. Nike bought Artifact for like $1 billion, and Artifact was the creators of Clone X. They're now doing merchandise as a community. Launched today a new chapter in the collaboration between Takashi Murakami and Artifact is the introduction of the V2 series, the Kai Kai Kiki exclusive color Vare. I don't know. What do you think? Yo, Bag and Snazzy, would you be walking around with the Takashi Murakami merch? I do think a lot of the Clone X's did look pretty neat. But we've got a number of people that are saying, oh, this is a cash grab, it's this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, I think Takashi Murakami is totally different than the team behind Artifact because Nike bought them, right? Appears there is a new set of Artifact gear for sale on the official site related to Takashi Murakami. I've talked to a source and it appears this is a special collection of colorway variants based on the Season 1 MK DNA and MK drip gear. These pieces were made for Takashi Murakami to sell at his discretion. There are 1,138 pieces for sale per the source. Well, okay, listen. Snaz, you're saying a hard no, but do you understand the secondary market value on these things? We're talking probably a 10x minimum, and we're saying no immediately. Listen, that's a red card for not thinking ahead, because it's the other people that want it, right? It's not us. We don't care. It's the other people that want it. But the fact there's only 1,000 of these, I mean, I've seen like a little bit of FUD regarding it. Why did they choose the flower sleeves over the jellyfish eyes? Miss. Agree. This is on point. Yeah, I don't know. They did like whatever this thing is, as like a knife that looked like a Counter-Strike one, as like just simply an NFT before, and I don't know how I feel about it. Okay, so this is a super long post from Betty. I should have got water before we started. I think we just need to be honest with ourselves at this point. Massive culture-centered moves by NFT brands rarely will impact the floor of a collection if it doesn't imply it will make the collector money. True. So how does this end up getting changed? Yo, Gary Doze, you noticed. True. What's the secondary value for my 2022 BAYC merch? Takashi Murakami is not on the same level as 2022 BAYC merch. There you go. Drew. The utility we all heard communities wanted was actually the ability to make money either passively or by selling with pumps from announcements. When we look at the psychology of it, a collector will collect for a multitude of reasons. A study in 1991 by Ruth Formanek found that the major self-prescribed reasons for collecting included extension of self, relation to others, financial investment, addiction and compulsion, preservation and continuation of history. Extension of self, relation to others. Okay. Yep. It's weird to think, like, if we didn't have social media, this would be, like, completely irrelevant. Unless you were, like, had somebody to connect you in person. But online, just be like, woo, other people. We love it. We can see these motivations clearly in the different archetypes of collectors that have appeared in Web3 with NFTs. We can also see that by collecting something that either isn't fully formed in culture, is being actively built, or is dependent on a very turbulent foundation, in this case crypto, we will see that the motivations to collect will sometimes fall out of alignment with the item that has been collected, or the fact that they're selling for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. For many here, the motivation is financial and self-identifying. You want to use the collection as your status symbol, either as a signifier of your culture prowess or your financial means. For others, the motivation is preservation. You see the significance of the collection and the historical lineage of digital art and tech, perhaps, or you envision where the collection may go and wish to have a part of the inception of that. Some will simply collect for the dopamine addiction and potential to flip. And on that note, that's one of the reasons why I've been like so shell-shocked around the whole everything of punk strategy. And there was some guy that was like, oh, Shill, you're like shilling your bags. I'm like, guys, do you understand that we basically get to relive every single notable NFT mint as like a token? Like, that's cool. That's something that we get to kind of, strategize around and see what's going to go. And we've all kind of hovered around this entire NFT thing. And unless you're getting an animation that releases like once a year that you watch for 30 minutes and says, okay, cool. You go into a Discord and you talk to people. You maybe buy something, have it as your profile picture, your identity, whatever. Like, there's not that much fun that's going around with the NFTs. And now it's like, okay, there is some fun. There's hopeful. There's the DeFi aspect. The branch just got bigger because there's so many people that still just don't want to buy NFTs, but they're down with getting fungible tokens. I don't know. I think it's really, really interesting. I don't have answers other than to continue building with what we have towards where we want to be as a brand, and I'm sure other founders feel the same. Of course, the best interest of our community is always at the top of mind, as is the way we can reward those who support us to continue building. But to please everyone and expect the reaction to announcements and developments to constantly shift floors isn't realistic in an industry where everything metas, key players, regulatory environments, general sentiment, crypto markets are constantly in flux. Okay, I don't want to go through the rest of it because I think it's like a bajillion paragraphs, but like, I like the thought around here, and I do agree that we don't see like big market moves from announcements anymore, and all of this is basically like we're tokenizing culture in a way. And all right, does the culture end up having any sort of value? That's up for everybody to decide. And speaking of culture, what do we think about this? The Pittsburgh Penguins with some beautiful yellow jerseys. Why don't we see these things more often? I feel there's all these major sports brands that can look cool as shit. And then you have the Los Angeles Kings that wear the silver bucket and look like absolute dinguses. Come on now, what are we doing? But I love the yellow. I absolutely love the yellow. So yesterday we highlighted a video of Jake Paul who was like, hey, guys, so can we stop sharing videos of me not actually doing what is shown because you put it in an AI video generator? And yeah, that's not cool. Matt Walsh, within the next next year or two, probably sooner, anyone who hates you will be able to generate any kind of defamatory video of you doing or saying something awful, and it'll be so indistinguishable from a real video that you simply won't ever be able to prove that it's fake. Literally nothing is being done to prevent this from happening. We can all see it coming, and our leaders are doing precisely nothing at all to stop it. So if I was going to ask you, right, how would you stop it? I don't know if there's like a genuine answer to that, except for everybody like recognizing, hey, AI is about to take a massive, massive leap. And here's another one. I just made a TikTok account. I posted a sort of video of squirrels jumping on a trampoline. 7 million views, 377 likes. What? Whole content game's just about to get shellacked. But what can you do in these sort of situations? Well, Nico highlighting that major brands are now longing nostalgia. Taco Bell released their Y2K menu. McDonald's brought back Monopoly pieces, and Chili's is doing the baby back jingle. Some of it is smart and playful. Some of it is lazy and tarnishes the spirit it's trying to embody. Regardless, it's interesting to witness. So checking out the Y2K Taco Bell graphic. What do we think? When was the last time you had Taco Bell? I don't think I've had it in like over a year, to be honest. Well, maybe within a year. I can't remember the last thing I had. Oh, maybe one of those Supreme. The Supreme wraps are pretty solid. You know what I mean? If you ever been to Taco Bell, one of the Supreme wraps, hell yeah. Gucci'da saying, I love the theme, and it's for the Ape Fest in-person event for Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's just a poster of an ape coming out of, I guess, like a starburst. It says, you are the yacht club experiencing itself. Is this like the we're not building the future, you are a Futureverse? You are the yacht club experiencing itself. No, PTSD. Nope. Let's change it up. So Matthew Comics here with actually a pretty good point, and this is regarding Candy Digital. If you don't know what Candy Digital is, let me just bring it up uber quick. So this has been passed back and forth. This was something that was on the Palm network, which was like kind of its own exclusive blockchain. Somehow Futureverse ended up acquiring Candy Digital, and a whole bunch of bad things have happened since. Seems like Root Network is going to continue. But again, Netflix, DC, WWE, NASCAR. I mean, even when you go to this and you look at these, I remember being like, I'm surprised that there wasn't more to it. Because for WWE, you have like less than a pay. It's literally just this. So they did a launch of like 4 different digital collectibles in 2023, 2022 For Major League Baseball, they have like a lot. For DC Comics, they have a lot, but it is a collectibles platform that is supposed to inherently hide the fact that any sort of blockchain aspect is involved, which is great, which we all thought that's pretty much what it's going to go. I mean, I could buy this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. moment for $18.88. Again, nothing about this is crypto related, but what Matthew's saying, and some of us wonder why digital collectible NFTs have a bad rap. Look at how these companies act. I used to blame us and me. You got companies promoting blockchain as the future and all that, but at the same time, they are the most secretive. You can't get sold off like 3 times and still stick with the we can't talk about it and expect us to stay loyal. It doesn't stay that way. And that's, to the point with all of this, it's kind of like you're not wrong, right? Like, okay, we want to be bullish about things, but I guess as long as the platform lives on, maybe you don't need to know around the technology behind it, but it is quite scary that it seems that there's always something drastically wrong that ends up happening every single year. And let's jump into this. We went into 2025 saying, all right, this is the year of crypto. They had like the agricultural governor that was a part of this meeting. It was so big and people were like, woo! Remember that back in like January, February? And then we're getting reports like this. So the Blockchain Association 18 hours ago says this, and it's in quotes. The disappointing proposal outlined by Senate Democrats would effectively ban decentralized finance, wallet development, and other applications in the United States, which is like literally everything crypto related. An outcome that's neither workable nor consistent with American innovation. The language as written is impossible to comply with and would drive reasonable development overseas. We urge our policymakers to stay at the table, continue to engage each other across the aisle, and ensure this critical piece of legislation supports rather than hinders our nation's leadership in financial technology. And then Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, quote tweeting that, saying, we absolutely won't accept this. It's a bad proposal, plain and simple. That would set innovation back and prevent the U.S. from becoming the crypto capital of the world. But legislating is a process, and we're committed to engaging and helping Congress get it right. We will keep fighting for your rights and to preserve economic freedom. So, genuine question here for a second, right? Everybody's expecting like all these good things within Q4. What if there's just like a nightmare government situation that comes out all of a sudden? I don't think that's going to be the case, but I feel like nobody's talking about anything bad. It's just like, all right, WAGMI's back on the table, which for anybody that doesn't know, WAGMI is like, we are going to make it. Just in $1.3 trillion, Morgan Stanley removes restrictions on Bitcoin and crypto investments for all clients. All right, we go from bad news to some good news. And then JPEGs are back, says Carl. Here's all the goods. So Good Vibes Club, this strategy launch, people are going to be speculating around all these new strategy launches. Vibes went from like nothing to 11 million market cap, which is by far the highest. I mean, the Bored Apes, Pudgy Penguins, all of the other ones that have strategies, they're lower than what Vibes is right now. And this is after their announcement that they were going to have the Vibe strategy as their official token. So what can you do in terms of research for this? Well, you could look up what like the Kong token is. You could look up what the Doodle valuation is and see what exactly that would look like. So why don't we do that right here? So if we looked at Kong, Cyber, is that not? Oh, that's. What the hell is the Kong's token? I thought it was just Kong, but it's not coming up. Maybe Kong's? Nothing. Yeah, if anybody knows the Kong token, that's crazy. Doesn't even come up. So for Doodles is at a market cap of 82 million. And right now, Vibes is at 11. So, I mean, that would be a pretty gnarly run-up if it was to catch where Doodles is. And so that's the question. Do you value Doodles more, or do you value the Vibes? And with the Vibes, do you like the aspect that is connected to a broader community around it? The Vibe strategy, Vibes launched on TokenWorks. Good Vibes Club made it the official ecosystem token. They're buying 69 ETH worth of it, with more news to come. Expecting some sort of announcement a little bit later today. For Doodles, announced a collab with Universal Pictures, Doodle x Universal Monsters. More news to follow. For the Pudgy Party game, added a new map called Haunted Hills, currently close to 1 million downloads, integrated NFT marketplace link in-game. For Persona, we haven't seen this one in a little bit. Remember one of the anime collections that are out there? Staking extended until January 31st of 2026. You can get their token for staking, and staking rewards have already exceeded mint price in USD. So if you were a minter, there you go. You basically got it for free, only in crypto. For Meme Land, Revealed Potatoes is official 9-gig mascot. 200 million users with 70 million monthly visits. All of them will be in touch with potatoes. And Claynosaurus playtested their mobile game. Holders could apply to play in beta phase 2 starting in October. I was very confused because did it not feel that Claynosaurus was all the attention? They were winning game awards. They were making all these announcements of games. They did the Popkins Mint, all the rage. And then I feel like I've not seen anything on my timeline regarding it until today. Very nice. Love those threads from Carl. Justin, Pudgy Penguins and Sharps Technology team up to merge NFT branding with Solana-based treasury management. Don't forget, we are still expecting like 50 plus ETFs for Solana, Ripple. The list goes on. So what does it look like in these sort of situations? And are the institutions still here? Are the institutions still here ready to go crazy? Just in Abu Dhabi Airports teams up with Al Hail Holding on stablecoin and crypto payment solutions. Still feels like not a lot of people are going to want to pay crypto in person, but the fact that the optionality for that continuing to transpire, very, very interesting. And Raoul Paul, the buyer of the taped banana by people, staggering to see the adoption speed of AI is 3x that of crypto, which in turn was 2x that of the internet. This is the exponential age in full effect. And look at that. Wow. After like 3 years, ChatGPT is just mooning where it took the internet 12 and a half years to get to. So where the internet took 12 and a half years, it took AI less than 3. Holy smokes. Now the question around centralized and decentralized systems, if you don't know, there was a huge wave of bans across X where accounts that were associated with some kind of like payment solution were taken down. Now, I've seen reports of people saying, oh, like these are just like temporary and it's going to come back for this Nyla. Basically, it was you could like tweet at it and say, hey, go and buy this. And then it would move funds in your wallet or send it. And it was essentially like ChatGPT, but like on X, you could do it. And they removed it. Now, is that a security thing? Is that because there's some sort of threat with it? Is that because they want people to do like their own variation and actually it's going to become the ultimate platform similar like that? I have no idea. But there's always something going on. But that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. And Jesus Pagan, Snazzy, and Gary Doge, I appreciate you guys coming through. And for anyone else watching later, thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget, if you're wanting more content, down below in the link in the description for the RWA SegMints Podcast, as well on my bio on X if you happen to follow me on there. Thank you. We'll talk soon. Peace.